Welcome to The Explainer. So, you're an artist on SoundCloud, and you want to get paid for your music. You've probably heard about their monetization program, but when you look at the official terms of service, well, it can feel like reading a legal textbook. Today, we're going to cut through all that jargon and break down exactly what you're signing up for.
It really is the million-dollar question, right? How do you turn those streams into actual cash? SoundCloud gives you a way to earn, not just from your plays on their platform, but on other big services too. But, and this is a big but, you've got to know the rules, understand what rights you're handing over, and how the money flows. So, let's get right into it.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the basics of the program itself. Then, we'll see if you're even eligible to join. After that, the good stuff, how you earn money both on and off SoundCloud. Then, we'll dive into the legal side of things, the rights you're granting, and the rules you got to play by. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with the key takeaways so you can decide if this is the right move for you.
All right, let's kick things off. The very first thing to get your head around is that this isn't just one single program. It's really two different ways to make money, and you need to know how each one works.
Okay, before we go any further, we have to talk about this term, controlled music content. Seriously, this is the absolute foundation of the whole agreement. It means you own or control everything about that track. The sound recording, that's the master, and the underlying composition. The melody, the lyrics, the whole shebang. No uncleared samples, no question marks about who owns what. If you don't have 100% control, you can't monetize that track here. It is that black and white.
So, you're confident you own all the rights to your music. Awesome. But before you can take off, there's a quick pre-flight checklist you need to run through to make sure you tick all the other boxes.
Here are the three main gates you have to get through. First, you've got to be at least 18 years old or be properly represented as a group or an entity. Second, this isn't for free accounts. You need to have a paid artist subscription up and running. And third, and I know we're repeating this, but it's that important, you absolutely must own or control all the rights to the music you're trying to monetize.
And just as important is what's not eligible. The terms are super clear on this. You can't monetize things like DJ sets or mixes, podcasts, spoken word tracks, or soundalikes. And a newer one, you can't submit music that's 100% generated by AI. This program is for original music that you control, period.
All right, let's get to the part everyone's been waiting for, the money. How does SoundCloud actually figure out what you're owed and get it to you? This is where we break down those two very different revenue streams we mentioned earlier.
So think of this as two different paths. On-platform monetization is all about earning money directly from your fans on SoundCloud itself, using their fan-powered royalty system. But off-platform distribution is where SoundCloud acts more like a traditional distributor. They'll send your music out to all the big players like Spotify, Apple Music, and TikTok and collect the money on your behalf.
And here's the headline number they promote. For both of those paths, the agreement says you get 100% of the net share that SoundCloud calculates. Now, that sounds pretty incredible, right? 100%? But the key word there, the one you really have to focus on, is net. So, what does net actually mean?
And this is absolutely crucial to understand. When we're talking about off-platform distribution, that 100% is not 100% of the money your track generates on, say, Spotify. It's 100% of what's left after Spotify takes its cut, pays taxes, and deducts any fees. It's 100% of what they pay back to SoundCloud. That's a huge difference, so keep your expectations in check.
And one last little practical thing on getting paid. There's a minimum payout threshold. You need to have at least $25 in your account before they'll send you the money. If you make less than that in a month, no worries, it just rolls over to the next month until you hit that $25 mark.
Okay, we've covered the money part. Now let's talk about what you're giving them in return. This is all about the legal rights and licenses you grant to SoundCloud when you opt into this program. But don't let your eyes glaze over. We're going to translate all the legalese into plain English.
This right here, this might just be the most important slide of the entire explainer. For on-platform monetization, the money you make on SoundCloud itself, you're giving them a non-exclusive license. That means you're free to monetize that same track however you want, wherever you want. But for off-platform distribution, you are granting them an exclusive license. And that means for any track you distribute this way, SoundCloud becomes your one and only partner.
And look, don't just take my word for it. Here it is, pulled directly from the terms of service. You can see it right there in black and white, the exclusive right and license. That one little word changes everything. So let's be crystal clear about what it means for you and your music.
So let's put it as simply as possible. If you choose to use SoundCloud to get your track onto Spotify, you cannot also use another service like DistroKid, TuneCore, or anyone else to distribute that exact same track. For those specific songs, SoundCloud is your exclusive distributor. You can't have two distributors for the same song on the same platforms.
So now you understand the deal. Let's cover the rules you have to follow to make sure you stay in the program and, just as important, how you can get out of the agreement if you decide it's not working for you anymore.
You've got three main responsibilities here. First, your metadata has to be perfect. That means correct songwriter names, ISRC codes, all that stuff. Second, SoundCloud pays you, but it's your job to pay anyone else involved, like your producers or co-writers. And third, this is a big one. Don't cheat the system. Using bots or anything else to artificially inflate your play counts is a surefire way to get kicked out and potentially lose your earnings.
Now this is a part you really need to pay attention to. For off-platform distribution, the agreement works on a track-by-track basis. Each track is locked in for a one-year term. And here's the catch. That term automatically renews for another year unless you give them written notice that you want to terminate. And you have to do it in a specific window, at least 60 days before the renewal date. If you miss that window, you are locked in for another full year.
Now, getting out of the on-platform monetization is way simpler. You can basically stop that anytime just by sending a support request. But remember, the whole thing hinges on your paid artist subscription. The moment you cancel that subscription, your participation in the entire monetization program, both on and off platform, is terminated.
Okay, we have been deep in the weeds here. Let's zoom out now and pull all of this together into the most important points that will help you decide what path is right for your music.
This table really lays it all out. On-platform is great for earning directly from the fans you already have on SoundCloud. There's no exclusivity and you have a ton of control. Off-platform, on the other hand, is your ticket to a massive global audience on the big streaming services. But that reach comes with a major trade-off. It's an exclusive deal for those tracks and you have less control because you're locked into those one-year renewing terms.
So really, it all comes down to this question. For some artists, the convenience of having everything in one place, uploading, monetizing on SoundCloud, and distributing to the world all from one dashboard, that is absolutely worth it. But for other artists, giving up exclusive control over their music's distribution for these rolling one-year terms is just too high a price to pay. There is no right or wrong answer here. It's about what you prioritize for your career.
And that is our breakdown of the SoundCloud monetization program. Hopefully, this gives you the clarity you need to make the best possible decision for your music. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.